Left channel, right channel, center.
VTuber 一問一答自己紹介
Yeah, and the tape's
それじゃあ
rolling.
行くよせーのお名前は
Katt Phloxworthy.
呼び方は
Just Cat is fine.
あなたは何系 VTuber?
Nerdy cat girl who features spaceflight.
誕生日は
May 4th.
年齢は
Older than Pneumatic.
性別は
Transgender
身
female.
長は
4'11".
出身は
Sacramento County.
チャームポイントは
Dialogue hair clip.
突然ですがモノマネどうぞ
Yeah, what's up, Dad?
活動場所は
Twitch, Twitter, YouTube.
はじめの挨拶
Thank you for joining me.
終わりの挨拶
Bye.
推しマークは
Not at present.
配信タグは
Cat-like feed.
ファンアートは
Cat pics.
ファンネームは
Cat's apprentices.
好きな色は
Iris Indigo.
好きなことは
Vintage computers and
得
video.
意なことは
Technology.
ここで一言愛の告白
I love you.
好きな食べ物は
Ethnic foods.
好きな飲み物は
Craft soda.
好きな漫画は
Pizza 10.
好きなアニメは
Planet.
好きなゲームは
Left 4 Dead 2.
好きな音楽は
Classic rock.
苦手なことは
Human stupidity.
尊敬するのは
Space fairy people.
叶えたい夢は
ISS crew
最後にみんな
interview.
に一言どう
Thanks
ぞ
so much for your support and a final status check.
Go Atlas.
Go Centaur.
Go Katt Phlox.
You have permission to launch.
3, 2, 1. RD-180 ignition. Booster ignition and liftoff of Atlas V and Centaur. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for coming by and joining me. Hi, Katt Phloxworthy here. We are about to head over to the Kennedy Space Center at Launch Complex 39A, where Falcon Heavy is on the pad with the U.S. Space Force USSF-52 mission on board. In this case, it's the Boeing X-37B. Ordinarily would be launched atop an Atlas Centaur, but due to a certain law that went into effect this past year, any further missions with any kind of national security in mind cannot launch on foreign-powered rockets. In this case, the Atlas V booster is such a device. Notably, it is powered by the NPO Energomash RD-180, which is from Russia, and of course, we know the rest of the story from there. So, but actually, United Launch Alliance stopped acquiring the RD-180 right around when Russia invaded Crimea. So that's not we're not going to be seeing any more of them coming from there anymore. So what's now happening is that it is now on American power, most notably the Falcon Heavy, and we know that it's going to launch from Cape Canaveral. We just don't know for how much of it we're going to see it. We're going to see at least the return of the side boosters, though. They will be touching down at landing zones 1 and 2, or LZ 1 and 2. And, of course, we'll see what happens from there. Now they have to launch, obviously, inferior American broomsticks. Yeah. I originally was going to say something to the effect of, Rogozin, go pick up a gun and fight if you're going to be bellicose like that. And apparently he has, and apparently he's almost found himself dead at least once or twice because of being caught in the crossfire. Well, not being caught in the crossfire, being the target of that fire, that is to say. Yeah, so anyway, we're going to see what happens. I hope we get to see everything up to that point. And speaking of United Launch Alliance, unfortunately, of course, we didn't get to see the launch of Vulcan Centaur like we'd hoped right around Christmas Eve, like they were originally planning. Probably because of all the weather they've been having over in Florida, and that caused a lot of scrubs going on. And interestingly enough, apparently they're supposed to be under the launch tonight from Slick 40 over at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying another Starlink mission. But I have a weird feeling that's going to be that may end up being pushed back at some point. But anyway. Another note is that in case you hadn't seen my videos that I posted on VStream and YouTube, this year is the 55th anniversary of Apollo 8, which was our first crewed mission to the moon. Even though we didn't actually touch down on it, we as William Anders once said, we came all this way to explore the moon, yet we discovered the Earth. And nothing could be further from the truth there, especially with the very first photographs of the Earth from about 250,000 miles away from the moon by humans, and they got to see it with their own eyes. And of course, like I said, they spoke with their feelings of their words of faith, because any amount of science, any words from science can barely describe the experience that they had when they were looking at their planet from 250,000 miles away. Everybody they know, everybody they love, everything they knew, everything that even brought them that far was down there. And they were the furthest people away from the planet at that point. That's the furthest that humanity had gone at this point. And of course, I framed this with Artemis 1 in the rearview mirror from last year, as well as Artemis 2 looking ahead, which is coming up, I'd say, the latter part of next year. So hopefully we'll get to see that. I'm gonna try my level best to cover it when that happens. In the meantime, they should be starting the coverage of the mission shortly over. Yeah, they normally used to use YouTube, but nowadays they're actually on their own. They're actually on a platform that they actually own. Big surprise there. So in the meantime, waiting on everything to start, and then I'll go ahead and bring everything to full, and then we will watch the mission as it unfolds. However much we get to see of it, I don't know if we're gonna. In some of these, we don't even get to necessarily get to see the staging portion of it. We just see the side boosters peel off and go touchdown. But in any event, we will be. We'll see however much as we are allowed to see. Artemis 2, hopefully soon. Yes, that's absolutely true. I hope we get to see that sometime in the relatively near future. That's gonna be something special, because that is going to be when humanity really takes its first leap to the first giant leap to the moon, before actually setting something down on it, and humans actually setting foot on the moon for the first time in a very, very long time. And let me do something real quick here. I'm waiting on things to start up. It is coming up. And we're not going to go immediately to it, depending on what they do. I'm going to go ahead and head over when they actually start the coverage, not when they actually start the stream. So, in any event, a lot of space stuff coming up this year. And of course, you heard about one of the most recent launch, where after about 18 or 19 launches, or however many it is, that is the most probably for any one booster, that booster tipped over after having landed, but apparently newer versions of the of Falcon 9, of the first stage, there it goes. I'm going to go ahead and here we go. I'm going to turn this down for a minute so I can get it ready. The stream has started. We're waiting for the opening part to finish up, and then when they're done, we're going to go ahead and pick up the coverage. And of course, as always, scrub disclaimers always apply because you don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully next year will be the year for the new launch vehicles, seeing as I guess this one wasn't. Yeah, that is true. We have Falcon, which of course has 2 BE4 engines, and at some point, apparently, New Glenn is taking a bit of has made a bit of progress. Don't know the exact nature of what's going on just yet, as far as, and here we go. Let's go and join them.
Clear.
10, 9, 8,
Launch auto sequence has started.
6, 5, 4, 3,
And of course, what you're seeing, that's the transporter erector,
Go for launch.
which brings things vertical. They integrate the horizontal position much like how the Soviet Union and Russia do theirs. And then they move vertical.
Vehicle is supersonic.
However, in the
Stage
case
separation
of Super
Dragon, separation confirmed.
what was going on? I do have
Stage
to actually
one,
lean a little bit
transonic.
forward in order to reach
Landing
that
like
right now.
deployed.
That's
And Falcon 9
the
has
issue. Okay,
landed.
let me make some adjustments here on this side.
You're looking at a live view of Falcon Heavy on
Okay,
historic
I hope
launch
that helps a
complex
little better.
39A.
I went ahead and
Kennedy
pulled
Space
the
Center
I pulled the
waiting
levels
liftoff
on
at
the source
8:07
for
p.m.
the
Eastern Time.
from
Welcome
coming
to
from the
our
computer
live
I'm sitting
webcast
at
of
watching the video here.
USSF-52 mission where SpaceX will launch the Space Force's X-37B
And thanks for the heads
orbital
up.
test vehicle, or OTV, to space for its 7th overall mission to date. The OTV payload will conduct tests that
And
include operating the reusable space plane in new orbital regimes.
And the interesting thing about this, we don't know what's aboard those things.
Effects on materials provided by NASA. My name is Jesse Anderson, and I'm a manufacturing engineering manager.
How's
here
everything
at
sounding
SpaceX.
now that I've
I'm
made some
excited to be here
adjustments?
with you today,
I may
bringing you
have to make a
coverage of
slight
our
adjustment
fifth
on the
and
mic
final
to see if that
Falcon
helps
Heavy
any.
mission for the year, 9th
I went
overall
ahead and
since
slid
first
the
taking
slid
flight
the
in 2018,
mixer
and
up on
third
my
Falcon
side
Heavy
here, at
launch
least on the
in
voice
support
meter
of a
side. I haven't
national
actually,
security
so
space
basically
launch
effectively
mission.
increasing some of the gain.
And as 2023
Thank you for
comes
the
to a
heads up
close,
on that.
Today's mission also marks our 95th launch of the year, with our final mission
That
expected
is a
to
lot.
lift off from our neighboring pad in Florida in about 3 hours from now. And you can see both of those rockets there on your screen. A big
So
thanks
yep,
to
it
all
looks
of
like
our
they are in
customers
fact going to
and
be
the
doing that,
SpaceX
and it
team
looks like
for
they
its
happen to
red
have
carpet
a looks like there's the crew orbital there's the crew there's a crew thing right up against Slick 40's
Some of you may
Slick
recall
40's
the
tower.
first flight on Falcon 9 back in September of 2017, in which OTV-5 spent
And
a
the
record
next major
708
milestone on this
days in
particular
orbit,
countdown will be
breaking the
at
vehicle's own
about T-minus
endurance
7 minutes,
Here's a
which is
closer
when
look
they
at
do
today's
engine
payload.
chill, where they start to flow liquid oxygen into the various into all 27 Merlin 1D engines on all 3 cores of the Falcon Heavy vehicle. I know that it's not unlike the shuttle in terms of its in terms of the way it's designed and built. And in fact, Sierra Nevada's Dream Chaser will be much the same way. And first, it will operate as a cargo vehicle with, and it's partially reusable. The aft compartment is actually jettisoned just before re-entry, so it can so then anything in there gets destroyed. And of course, this is another Boeing vehicle, and of course, the other one that's coming up real soon is the Boeing CST-100 Starliner.
aboard this mission on Sunday, December 10th, due to bad weather. On our second attempt the following day, during the count, our teams reviewed data related to system checkouts, which resulted in a no-go condition and decision to stand down from launch that evening. We rolled the vehicle back to our hangar at Launch Complex 39A in Florida to be able to further assess data and address any issues. during
And
this time,
basically what they're
payload
doing is
remained
making sure
healthy
that
and all systems
everything
are
is working
go
as it
for an
should.
on-time
And
liftoff
at that point,
tonight.
apparently they were getting
Weather is also
anomalous readings from the
looking great for
vehicle.
Today's T0. Today's flight will be on the Falcon Heavy that you see there on your screen.
They'll
This is
probably tell.
essentially
Hopefully, they'll
three
tell us
Falcon
when
9
that
rockets
happens.
strapped together, which means that it can carry much larger payloads, not only to Earth orbit,
I think
but to
Dream
the
Chaser
moon
might
and
be
Mars
might
as
take
well.
missions similar to
Like
what
the
the
Falcon 9,
X-37 is
Falcon
currently
Heavy
doing.
is
I
a
don't know.
two-stage
You know,
launch
that's an
vehicle.
excellent question
The big
because
difference is
there
that
is
the
a lot of
Falcon Heavy
material
first
science
stage
apparently going
requires
on
three cores
on
and
even the
Falcon 9 has
X-37B.
only one. Falcon Heavy has 28 engines total. Each one of
Oh yeah,
those-
that's right, because the
these
28th is
cores
on the
have
second
9
stage.
M1D engines, making for a total of 27 engines across all three boosters, which you can see there on your screen. The 28th engine is a Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage.
Yep,
and
that's
will
right.
power the
I
payload
kind of
to
figured
its
as much.
separation point. Now, altogether, the Merlin 1D engines at the base of Falcon Heavy produce 5 million pounds of thrust, which is equal to 18 747s at takeoff. And in fact, the engines produce so much power that we don't run them all at full thrust all at once until after liftoff.
Yeah, usually what they'll do is they'll throttle down the center core because that way they can extend the propellant supply, because that needs to be that is going to be burning the longest, and that's also what ULA did with Delta IV Heavy. They'll run it at full thrust just to get it off the pad, and then throttle down the center core just to reduce the amount of propellant usage.
Separation, the center core will keep firing for about 90 seconds before shutting down its engines and then perform a standard stage separation from the second stage. We will not be attempting to land our center core today. For those of you looking closely, this is why you don't see any landing legs or grid fins on the center core.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, they're not going to be. Yeah, many of these, what they'll do, especially if they have, they need a lot of energy, they will not land the center core because in order to get that energy, they have to use more fuel, and on top of that, use a lot less. They need to use a lot less weight because the weight is because the weight of all that stuff is just enormous.
Is where our payload is safely enclosed inside of the fairing. The fairing protects the payload from aerothermal loads, heating, and contamination during ascent. Once we reach the vacuum of space, we will jettison the fairing as the second stage continues on its journey to orbit. We will be attempting to recover the fairing halves today.
And from what I understand, according to Everyday Astronaut, it's going to be going into an initial Molniya type orbit where it's very highly eccentric. It's very, very close at its perigee and very, very far away on its apogee. And the Molniya orbit is what is basically their
All systems are a go. Before we began
the names the satellites that had that name originally were in a constellation that would come around every few hours to give the coverage that the other satellites that are leaving that area would give.
You may be able to hear some of the live rocket sounds from our launch pad. Those pops and hissing sounds that you hear.
All the clouds that you're seeing is gaseous oxygen meeting the very cold air, producing a lot of clouds there. And as you can see where it says engine chill, that happens at about T-7 minutes, where they flow a little bit of liquid oxygen into all 27 Merlin 1D engines on all three cores to get everything down to operating temperatures, as well as making sure that the liquid oxygen that goes into those lines stays liquid. And the fuel that they use is RP1, a highly refined form of kerosene, also called refined petroleum 1.
This very pad on the moon missions also use liquid oxygen and kerosene. In addition to these two,
and that was the first stage, and all the subsequent stages used hydrolox.
The combustion of RP1
my own audio, possibly.
The rocket go or fly, and it's the T-tub that sets the match to the propellant mix. Today's mission is for the U.S. Space Force and is being overseen by Space Systems Command, or SSC.
Center core RP1 load is complete.
They
Space
just
Systems
called
Command is the
fuel
US
load
Space
complete on the
Force's
center
field
core,
command
and
responsible
they
for
imagine they're going to do the
acquiring
same, much the same for the
capabilities and
outer two
groundbreaking
cores before too
technologies
long.
to protect our nation's strategic advantage in and from space. For more on the SSC, let's take a listen.
We're coming up on the T-minus 7-minute mark, at which point they're going to start flowing some of that liquid oxygen into the lines and into the turbo pumps for all 27 Merlin 1D engines on all 3 booster cores.
And prosperity of this world we all share. But space is no longer a benign environment. Adversaries and near-peer nations are actively working to dominate the most critical battleground of our day. At Space Systems Command, the time to act is now. The race is on.
Our adversary is out there. They are going to work every day, trying to work harder, smarter, faster than us. But we are making sure that that does not happen.
The Guardians, airmen, and partners of Space Systems Command are working with unstoppable urgency to innovate.
Of course, that was the Atlas Centaur
delivering solutions to
stack
emerging
there where they
threats,
originally were on.
creating
Now they're on,
resilient space architectures we can all rely on.
and now we're on
Especially
Falcon
during
Heavy
times of
today.
crisis and conflict.
The fight could happen tonight, it could happen tomorrow, it could happen in a couple of years, but we need to start innovating now, and that's exactly what we're doing.
For Space Systems Command, working faster means breaking from the status quo, exploiting existing space architectures and capabilities in creative new ways, working with commercial industry, innovators and tech startups, and allied nations to exploit, buy, and build.
And we're already in the engine chill phase, and they're in the process of getting ready to retract the TE arm, or transporter erector, sometimes called the strongback, which is that girder-like structure that runs up alongside the vehicle.
Experiments to ensure that we can outpace the enemy tomorrow.
To maintain our lead in space, Space Systems Command has embraced a new culture, empowering its people to race forward, speak up, and connect with industry in unprecedented new ways.
Our people are agile, they continue our partnerships, they are working collaboratively day after day in order to contribute to the big warfighter's purpose.
Space is a team sport. We have to work together to provide integrated, resilient capability and speed in order to fight through any contingency crisis.
Space Systems Command is moving fast to maintain U.S. superiority in space, running a marathon of sprints, thinking differently, acting boldly, empowering at every level to make space work for us all. At Space Systems Command, space starts here.
At T-minus 4 minutes and 45 seconds.
And about
all
T-minus 4 minutes,
systems
30
are
seconds, they're going to go
currently
ahead and
a go
start,
for an
get ready
on-time
for the
liftoff.
strongback
Next
retract.
up, the trusted structure next to the vehicle, which is known as the strongback, will begin to retract away from the vehicle, and that is in preparation for liftoff.
Strongback retract has started.
They
And
just
there's
called
that
start
call-out.
of strongback retract.
Now,
First
you
they'll
can
do is they'll
see
open
on
that
your
clamp that's
screen,
just below the fairing,
around
and
the
then
second stage are some
after
clamp
it's opened
arms,
up, they will go
and
ahead and
they're
angle
starting to
angle
slowly
the
open up.
truss structure
Once
back
they
by
are
about
fully open, then the
2
TE
degrees.
can begin to recline away from the vehicle.
There it goes.
And the vehicle is
The
nearly
clamp is
fully
opening
loaded
up.
with propellants and will complete at T-minus 2 minutes. And there you can see on your screen those clamp arms are opening up there. The range is green and ready to support. Weather is 90% go for T0.
Yeah,
so
earlier
Lock is complete.
they just called lock slow
very
complete
great news
on.
with the weather. If for some reason we do not launch today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow around the same time.
And then about T-minus 2
And there you
minutes
see on your
is
screen,
that the point where they
clamp arms are
call
now fully
lock
open,
slow complete on
so
the
that
second stage.
TE to the right of the vehicle that you see
There it goes. The TE is now
to the
starting
right
to
of the
angle back.
fairing is
It's going
beginning
to
to
angle back about 2
slowly
degrees, and will angle a
move
further
away from the
43 at T0 when the vehicle is
Additionally,
let go. They're calling lock slow complete on all the center cores there.
Customer, we will again not be showing views of the payload, so we will be ending the webcast just after Falcon Heavy's side boosters make their way back to land on landing zone 1 and landing zone 2 around the T+8 minute mark into flight.
I guess we won't be seeing the actual vehicle or even the ignition of the vehicle, ignition of the second stage. Just called lock slow complete.
Spacecraft is on internal power.
They have transferred from ground-based power to onboard power now.
Oxygen loading is complete. That concludes all first stage vehicle propellant loading.
And they're going to be finishing up the second stage within the next minute or so.
And that should conclude at the T-2 minute mark, which will also conclude all propellant loading for Falcon Heavy.
That should be coming momentarily.
And you can also see these white clouds on your screen. This is normal. This is us just venting out the boiled off liquid oxygen at the liquid.
Stage 2 lock float is complete.
There's the call. Now they're going to go ahead and cease replenishment.
Propellant loading on Falcon Heavy.
Hopefully there will be post-launch footage released. Not mistaken. There's videos of X-37B separation from Atlas V. I guess we'll see. In the meantime, they're in the process of purging the lines in the umbilicals that are in the transporter erector. And the next event coming up at T-1 minute, we have startup, which is where control of the vehicle is handed from ground-based systems to computers aboard the vehicle, which will monitor the vehicle's critical functions, as well as control the remainder of the count mount. T-minus 90 seconds. Now they're closing out the gases, and they're going to go ahead and start venting out the liquid oxygen right now in the lines.
Finished propellant loading. We are also clearing out the liquid oxygen line on that transporter erector, and that's why you see a little bit more of those white clouds there on your screen.
Next event is T-1 minute, which is startup as well as propellant tank press.
Vehicle, so the internal flight computers will take over the launch countdown.
T-1 minute and counting.
Falcon Heavy is in startup.
There's the call. Vehicle's computers have taken full control of the vehicle's critical functions, as well as the remainder of the countdown. Now we're waiting on launch director status for the launch.
This is the mission director. Go for launch.
MD just called for the call that everything is go for launch. Range, vehicle, payload, and everything else is go for launch. T-minus 30 seconds and counting. 20, 15, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff of Falcon Heavy carrying the Boeing X-37B on USSF-52. Headed for an initial Molniya orbit, and the vehicle has cleared the tower. And they should be throttling down the center core engines before too long to conserve propellant when they get ready to separate the after they've gone up high enough to remove to jettison the side boosters. At about the T+50 second mark, they're getting ready to enter the area of maximum aerodynamic pressure, or max Q, which is the highest amount of pressure that the atmosphere itself will exert on the vehicle as it passes through the denser portions of the lower atmosphere. We're getting ready to breach about ready to breach Mach 1 ahead of max Q.
Under the power of 5 million pounds of thrust, Falcon Heavy is carrying OTB.
We're about to breach Mach 1. Stand by.
OTB 7.
We have breached Mach 1.
And we are coming up on max Q here in a few seconds.
About to enter the area of maximum aerodynamic pressure, or max Q. There's the call. It is now experiencing peak aerodynamic pressure as it goes through the denser portions of the lower atmosphere. And if they did any throttle downs to account for max Q, they should be opening up the throttles right about now.
That will be booster engine cutoff, or BECO, separation of the side boosters, followed by side booster boost back burn startup, and then the center core main engine cutoff, or MECO. Now again, those are a few events coming up here. BECO, side booster separation. That'll be the separation from the center core. The center core will continue to carry.
It will be, looks like they're going to be doing BECO at just right around 2 minutes 15 seconds, 2 minutes 30 seconds. There are views from each of the boosters above and below.
And there you can see on your screen, on your right-hand screen, some views from the side boosters, and a really awesome view of Falcon Heavy on your left-hand screen, with all of those engines burning.
Coming up on booster engine cutoff, or BECO, standing by.
BECO in a few seconds here.
We have BECO.
Side booster separation confirmed.
There we go. Both side boosters have separated and are now headed back to LZs 1 and 2. And they're flipping around and getting ready to do a boost back burn, heading in that general direction of the Cape.
And great news, we were able to also see that live on your screen.
There they go. The engines have ignited.
Separated from the center core, and we have the startup of the boost back burn on both of those side boosters.
And the left was we see one of the boosters on the ground doing the boost back burn. There's a view from one of the boosters on the left doing a boost back burn.
Florida under the power of 3 engines. Coming up are a few events in rapid succession. That will be the conclusion of the side boosters boost back burn, MECO, stage separation of the center core, and
actually it looks like the left-hand side is actually the center core, I believe, now that I think about it.
Igniting on the second stage. SES1 stands for second stage engine startup. And as I mentioned previously,
and we're about to breach the Kármán line. The vehicle has passed the Kármán line for the center core.
Additionally, our center
and 100 kilometers is considered the internationally recognized border to space.
Boosters back to land, so you can continue to stay tuned for that.
Coming up on MECO, there is the view of the interior of the second stage nozzle engine nozzle, the Merlin 1D vacuum optimized, or MVAC.
Stage separation confirmed.
They just called staging.
MVAC ignition and full pass.
And we have it, and there's the green flash from TTEB, which ignites the mixture of liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. Liquid oxygen and RP1.
Able to see and hear the call-outs for the
and they just ceased coverage of the center core.
Engine cutoff of the center core, as well as stage separation, and also heard confirmation that the MVAC engine has ignited. Now, as we mentioned before,
fairing separation confirmed.
They call fairing separation. The vehicle is now exposed to space.
Separated from the second stage. Again, we will be attempting
and
to
one thing to bear in mind, in case you didn't know this already, the fairings are reused for future missions. And they also have little thrusters on there to adjust the attitude as it re-enters the atmosphere. And if you go check out on Scott Manley's page, it has some very beautiful pictures of a plasma trail that it leaves behind as it makes its flight down there. A beach, someone on the beach actually managed to find a fragment of one of the fairings, and found the GoPro camera in there, which they sent back to SpaceX, and they got all these wonderful pictures from there.
Wrap up our coverage pertaining to the stage to the second stage, so we'll focus our attention on the side boosters.
And we should be getting some coverage of the side boosters before too long, because now they're going to be starting. Now they're starting to fall. And also, watch the speed. It's starting to accelerate considerably.
On their way back to land. In order to land back on land, we typically have 3 burns.
Center core FTS has saved.
They just turned off the flight termination systems on the center core. They don't need it anymore because they're too fast, and actually it's too far down range to do any damage. It's going to fall harmlessly into the ocean.
On each of those
the 2 stages have now fallen below the Kármán line, and about halfway they're going to light up 3 engines each, numbers 1, 5, and 9. 1 and 5 on the outside, 9 in the center, starting with number 9. And what that'll do is they'll burn the engines for about 20 seconds, reducing the speed as they enter into the atmosphere. Engines first, and after that, when they're just above the ground, they will light the center engines on each side, and touching them down on land on landing zones 1 and 2. We should be getting some video before too long from the side boosters.
Burn is coming up here for the side boosters.
Booster entry.
Okay, there we go. We now have camera views from the center burn. There we go. We have ignition on one.
On the side boosters.
Hey Bryce, how you doing? Here we go. We have burns on both boosters.
You can see on your screen.
They just shut down the flight termination system. Apparently on the there we go. They just shut down the burn on one of them, and they're shutting down burn on the other momentarily. There that goes. And you may see these little puffs that are obscuring some of the camera views. Those are cold gas nitrogen thrusters. They spray out nitrogen gas to slightly adjust the vehicle's attitude. There are also grid fins, which actually take effect once they're in the atmosphere. And in the meantime, they're getting ready to launch. And just before they touch down, they're going to ignite the center engine one final time on each core to touch it down at landing zones 1 and 2.
On land again, we are targeting landing zone.
They just went below the speed of sound, and now they're getting ready to touch down.
Booster landing burn.
There's the call. They should be starting. There's one. There's the other.
And we heard that call out, and you can see.
We see views from the ground on the upper two, and the views from the boosters themselves on the bottom two.
Touchdown for landing.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
Landing legs have extended on both boosters. And both boosters have touched down.
And there you can see on your screen and hear the crowd here, very excited. We have successfully landed both Falcon Heavy side boosters on landing zone 1 and landing zone 2. With these two side boosters, this marks the 257th and 258th overall successful landing of an orbital-class rocket. And with successful confirmation of our side boosters landing, that will bring our webcast to a close today. We'd like to thank the United States Space Force for entrusting us with today's mission, and we'd like to thank all of our viewers for tuning in. As a reminder, in about 3 hours from now, our 96th and final mission of 2023 is set to lift off
I'm going to answer the door in just a sec here.
Be sure to tune in for that one. We hope you all enjoy a happy and healthy new year, and we'll see you back here for an exciting 2024.
Okay, let's get back to the chatting window for a sec. I actually need to step away briefly, so let me hit the let me go ahead and hit AFK, and then I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that, folks. I was distracted for a moment. So in any event, I am, so about 3 hours from now, that's right around 8 p.m. local time. Those are getting so routine, they don't really show the entire process of all the way up to deployment of the vehicles now. But of course the Space Force didn't want anybody to see what was going on with this. So anyway, I might go ahead and cover it anyway, just because why not? More spaceflight and the last SpaceX launch of the year. So stay tuned out there, and I will probably go ahead and bring it to you guys. So in any event, thank you so much for joining me. I don't think I'm gonna go ahead. Let me see what I'm gonna do real quick here. Let's see. Just checking all my viewers on all the since I don't see anything on I think I'm only gonna raid from my Twitch channel, so, and then I'm just gonna shut down the other streams. So first of all, I don't know how to do it from YouTube. I'm not seeing anything. I'm not going to do any meteor showers from BStream. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a good old-fashioned raid from this side here. What's up? I think I know who we're gonna raid. We're gonna raid Mari P. She is playing Lethal Company with some in a collab. Speaking of, I actually have the game myself now, and I can actually do some look at doing a collab with someone at some point. But in any event, thank you so much for joining me, and I will go ahead and start setting up for a little bit later this evening. So in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. Let me start the. Let me go ahead and give you guys some text to raid with. That's for those people without subs. This is and here's some text for people with subs. Let me go ahead and set this up real quick here. Let's go ahead and. All right. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope everybody possibly can catch me a bit later. We can watch another launch, the final SpaceX launch of the year, Falcon 9. And in the meantime, I'd like to say, as always, Slavu Ukraini, and I will see you soon, and I will see you probably in about 3 hours. In the meantime, have a good one, and I will see you then. Bye.